we come from an environment where we are often judged by how we deal with our trauma rather than people taking the time to get to know why we were traumatized in the first place.
Thank you. My name is Mickey Parfitt Smith, and I'm here today to tell my story of overcoming trauma, addiction, child sexual abuse, manipulation, betrayal, and what I'm doing differently to just make a change in the world today.
I would describe survival mode as running in place,
Mm.
putting out a lot of effort and not moving anywhere.
So yeah, they weren't rumors. They were true, except he wasn't my boyfriend. He was my abuser that kept popping up in all stages of my from the time I was 10 years old right throughout my entire adolescence. I don't think there is no, perfect family. One of the things that was I guess pretty dominant in my bringing up was the verbal abuse that came from her. I know now that when it comes to abusers, they always look for that weak link, you know, I had seen the police come to my house, but I had also seen other adults say to my parents, "Hey, this man's not a good man." This abuse, sexual abuse, continued from the age of 10, grooming, manipulation. And when I say manipulation on the highest of just, it's almost like brainwashing. My abuser assured me with this man for money. Um, I knew I got some of that money. I don't know exactly the exact amount that it was for or anything like that. He allowed this man to perform oral sex on me. And I felt so dirty and disgusting after that. So, I unfortunately accused 3 boys of raping me. And even though I can't really explain why, I know at the end of the day, it was to protect myself. You know, I spent like 4 hours of the day in the principal's office just to protect myself because I was being targeted. I was being bullied, and rightfully so. It was just like this unspoken thing in my family. Like people knew that this is what had happened to me, but still nobody was acknowledging it. And even me, I was still carrying on like I guess this is normal. If anybody knows anything about ecstasy, methamphetamines, you're really high and on this euphoric stage. But once you come down, down, down. Like you're questioning your existence. And that's really where I had my first taste of crack cocaine, you know. It didn't take long for me to become addicted to that. And, it got really, really bad. To the point where I would do anything to get that drug. I think probably one of my lowest points is when I had to pay rent with my body. And even I got tired of that, you know. Yes, I made the choice to numb my feelings and everything that I was going through the use of drugs. You know, I was the first and only big and pregnant woman at that time to have entered drug treatment for it. My root issue was trauma. The drugs was just a symptom of the trauma that I had endured. I actually tried to end my life, and because I was like, I don't want to do this again. I was just tired of being sick and tired. It's crazy, but it's a real feeling. Sick and tired of myself, sick and tired of everything, sick and tired of having to need drugs. Because after a certain while, remember I said earlier, addiction is in certain levels. There was a time when I was addicted, and then there was a time when I was addicted, like to the point where I wouldn't use around anybody because I didn't want them to ask me for any of my drugs. I was just so sick and tired of being sick and tired. That's one thing. Like, that's the only tattoo I have is hope. I never gave up that this life wasn't for me. It was learning about the child inside that really never had healed. Fight, 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 fight. And I'm of the mindset when you talk about survival mode and not just existing to survive, that I wasn't gonna settle for this anymore. I wasn't gonna settle for the silence anymore. Silence is complicity, complicity, sorry, right? Such a powerful statement. We want to talk about in Bermuda, we want to talk about, oh, this happened to this person, this happened to that person. But really, when people are making a call to action, a change to policy, where is everybody? I am brave and courageous and strong, and I will not settle for anymore. And I really hope that my story inspires another woman, whatever it is going on in your life. You don't settle for anymore. People that speak up are usually seen as the troublemakers, right? They uh they talk about these secrets that nobody else in the family wants them to know.
When I talk on this podcast, when I share stories on this podcast, it's not about sensationalizing these stories, right?
No,
It's
mm-mm,
about giving the audience the opportunity to self-identify because
mm,
oftentimes, no matter what the trauma is, we suffer in silence. The laws are archaic in Bermuda and worldwide,
mm,
right? Because this is not just a Bermuda thing.
no,
The laws are archaic. The system isn't trauma informed.
yeah,
The victims suffer the most, right?
yeah,
And when
and in a
now I'm
blind
a
eye.
40 plus year old woman, I've
Mm,
spent 20 years dealing
mm,
with the residual impact of what I
yes,
went through
talk
because
about it.
no one had the balls to protect me. Society has not evolved enough
No,
to support us,
yeah,
right? We have to
yeah,
pick up the pieces
yeah,
by ourselves
yeah.
oftentimes. Families turn their back because they don't like the
Big
way that
time.
the trauma has showed up in their lives. It may not be drugs, it may be anger. I was a very angry person.
Mm,
And you talked
yeah,
about the rage. You don't have to understand exactly what someone walks through.
no,
But just because you don't understand it doesn't mean you have the right to pass judgment. Self-actualization is getting to a point where you recognize that your story is a masterclass. Our stories
yeah,
are not just ours, they are the
mm,
communities
yeah.
because it helps other people to grow.
At some point, I had to take the bull by the horns and take my life back. No matter what, make a way for yourself. You know,
I just want to remind you that you were not built to break, but you damn
mm,
sure were not built to just survive.
mm.
Disrupt the cycle, reclaim your life, and thrive on your own terms.